A strong start on Wall Street this morning. Stocks up as earnings season kicks off. We're at about 550 points right now in the green. Joining us now to discuss, George See., Annandale Capital CEO. Hey, George, thanks for being with us this morning. Day two, we're seeing, stocks are up right now. What's your reaction to this?
Well, the market is an anticipating mechanism. It looks way ahead, usually 3 to 6 months ahead, and it likes what it sees out there. I think it's a wild-eyed optimist right now. We've got a lot of bad data between now and then, and I hope it's right. I hope that this preparing for a bright future is correct, and that's where we're at 3 to 6 months out. I think it's yet to be seen. I think there's a lot of job losses and bad earnings ahead before we hit that. But I'm sure enjoying the ride while it lasts.
I know. I appreciate that optimism this morning. That's great. Because we have a lot more in store. Unfortunately, we potentially see more unemployment every week as we see those new jobless claims. It's just shocking to see how many Americans have been affected by the coronavirus. And so I want to talk to you about it. Do you anticipate the market dipping again like we saw last week in the near future?
I do. Yeah, that's my expectation. I think that the people who are calling for a retest of the March lows or even a breach of the March lows are sound in their analysis. But whether that happens or not, I mean, calling the market is like calling the weather or interest rates or oil prices. It's just really not something that you do with a whole lot of accuracy or reliability. So just what I think and what the market does could be completely different things. But so far, we've really kept going off this counter trend, and I hope it's got legs. It sure would be nicer for the American people to see the markets doing well ahead of time before the economy and everything else bounces back. But I'm being conservative. We've got a lot of dry powder, and we're holding out for lower prices. Because if you look at the historical valuations on the market, I saw the other day one investment bank had kind of low earnings around $100 on the S&P and recovering to 110, 120 the year after that. And their best case scenario had 110, 120 on the S&P on earnings and then 170 in 2021. And even at $170 in earnings right now, the market at 2,800, it's not cheap. I mean, it's not even historically it's far from cheap. It's just not super compelling. So I really hesitate to think that you should rush into the market right now. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope it just keeps going up.
Yeah, I know. We're all trying to stay hopeful during this time. We know a lot of small businesses are really struggling to make ends meet during this time. Here's what Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said about the progress of the small business lending program. Listen to this.
We have distributed and confirmed $230 billion of loans to over 4,600 lenders participating. That is multiples and multiples of anything that the SBA has ever done in 1 year before.
We know a lot of businesses are trying to take advantage of these loans. Now there's an interim coronavirus relief bill in the works. Aides say Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer, they're expected to reach a deal this week after Senate Democrats were accused of course, blocking a Republican push to unanimously pass the bill. You know, are we going to see politics kind of set aside here and come together to help out these small business owners? Is this what we need, another round and phase of bill to assist?
Well, maybe. Politics may be set aside. You've seen an awful lot of that already in this process. Things have been delayed because of politics, and the Democrats are trying to score points by getting money for their constituencies as opposed to small business owners, which are typically more of a Republican constituency. I would really salute Mnuchin and his staff and the Fed and the administration for how rapidly they have gotten aid to businesses around the U.S. I think it's kind of historical how the government has responded so quickly. The government is notoriously slow and not responsive to serious situations, and they've been incredibly responsive this time around. So all Americans should be grateful for how hard they've worked at this. Whether that's going to be enough with all the damage that's been done so far, I'm not really sure. And I think this second package is definitely needed, and I hope they get it out of the Congress ASAP. I really salute Senator McConnell, the majority leader, who had a 2-page bill to get this thing done last week. Should have been a pretty easy thing to pass, but the Democrats bogged it down in negotiations over politics and trying to fund their interests as well. It should be a very simple thing to get through, but when the cookie jar is open, everybody starts reaching in for the cookies.
Seems to be that way. Yes, we're all hoping for a quick response. That's George See., Annandale Capital CEO. George, thanks for joining us.
All right, still ahead, actor John Krasinski returns with another episode of his weekly feel-good newscast. This week, a former Red Sox star has a gift for some of the healthcare workers that's even making the actor jealous. We'll have more on that story when National Report returns.